The summer break is finally over. It is race weekend again, and we are in Zandvoort this week. So, what happened over the break? What upgrades are we expecting from the teams? What are some driver market rumors that are going around? What is in store for the second half of the season? Let's discuss all of this in this video. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the channel. Anderson here. We have finally survived the summer break, and I took some time off too. I am well rested. The second half of the year is going to be extremely hectic because not only we have a intense F1 schedule, the Premier League and the Champions League is also going to get started. As some of you know, I am a huge Liverpool fan and I need all the emotional support possible for the next season. So let's start off talking about some driver news, and I want to get the two big non-racing driver news out of the way. First news, George Russell got engaged. When I saw the engagement post, it makes me very happy for him. I know I'm talking about a driver's personal life here, but trust me, you cannot separate personal and professional because your mood at home affects how you are at school and at work, and it's true for racing drivers as well. So now that George Russell has locked in, I'm sure the break would have been super relaxing and rejuvenating for him, and this man needs all of it if he is going to beat the teenager and become world champion. So huge congratulations to George and Carmen. Another big news that was speculated heavily in the Hungarian GP weekend was if the Leclercs were pregnant. While no one from their PR team or themselves have officially given a verbal statement, there was plenty of evidence posted online on Instagram during the break. Yes, this is also one of those wholesome stories. Congratulations to the Leclercs as well. Now let's get to more racing related driver stories, and we are starting off with the driver who is always in the press for all the wrong reasons, Carlos Sainz Jr. Basically, over the entire course of the summer break, we heard rumors that Carlos Sainz might join Red Bull or Audi or even McLaren. But all of this depended on some team making a seat available for him. For example, if, and a massive if, okay, Max leaves Red Bull or Oscar leaves McLaren, Sainz would be one of the consideration. No team is rushing to make space so that they can bring in Sainz now that he is available in the driver market. I know I have been very critical of Carlos Sainz on this channel specifically for a lot of his comments. Most of the time, rightly so, but let's objectively look at his position from his shoes, okay? He was doing well at Ferrari, he gave good competitions to Charles Leclerc, but Lewis made his move, so Sainz had to choose immediately from the options that was available to him at that moment. There were three options: Alpine, Sauber who at the time hadn't become Audi, and then Williams. And the only reason he joined Williams was because of the potential that they showed for 2026. Williams as a team hadn't won a race in 13 years, and the recent history of the team hasn't been that smooth sailing as well. And when James Vowles stepped in and said we are focusing on the long term and 2026 and beyond and whatnot, it looked like an amazing future project to bet on. And now that we are in the midst of 2026, and if we were to take a realistic performance report, it's not looking good for Williams. Williams have the best engine on the grid. They have focused their entire 2025 on the 2026 cars, and they failed to even show up for the Barcelona shakedown in the early 2026. They were hyped up to be even the top of the midfield or even close to the top 4 by 2026, and now they are struggling to get out of Q1. Again, let's put ourselves in Carlos Sainz's shoes, okay? We are in the prime of our career, we are at the right age, we have the right amount of experience, and we have the right amount of drive. Right in the middle of our good days, a team has promised us the world and has not just under-delivered, they haven't delivered it at all. They are not even the same as 2025. So it is fair for Sainz to think that he has been unimpressed, and it is fair for him to look outside of Williams for opportunities. The problem is though, does anyone outside of Williams want him? In 2024, the story was very different. Everyone wanted him. Literally, the silly season was kept on a pause because every team principal wanted to know what move Carlos made so that then they can react in the driver market. Right now, every team has invested significantly for the future in both their drivers, specifically in the top 4 teams. For Carlos, it makes no sense to move to a team again and wait for another 3 years for them to reach midfield potential. So he is trying his best to make noise in the paddock to get the best opportunity for him, but looks like 2027 will have to be with Williams only. The contracts in the top 4 teams seemingly are airtight for 2027, and it makes more sense for Sainz to wait one more year at Williams before making a decision. But here's a part that sends me flying, okay? Allegedly, he is asking for a 30 million salary to stay in Williams. Let's just for reference look at the chart of the current salaries of the drivers on the grid. So a 4-time race winner is asking for a salary that is equal to the most recent world champion and 10 million more than the 2-time world champion. He's asking for 100% hike in salary. If you are working in a MNC or any company for that matter, can you imagine walking into your founder's office and demanding 100% increase, especially when the company as a whole has been underperforming? I know it's not a perfect analogy and the 30 million number could be bloated by the media, but it is not looking good for Sainz. The latest news is that he is holding off on signing with Williams for a year extension to see if there are any other opportunities that open up in the second half of the season. I do feel bad for Williams, but everything that has happened to them seems to be fair, and I blame the leadership. I had a lot of sympathy for the team when they were under Claire Williams and the Williams family actually had ownership in the company. But now, after the company being profitable, I just expect a lot more, and mediocrity is just not going to cut it anymore. Moving on to another driver who is looking for a better opportunity, it is Fernando Alonso. I know earlier in the year, Fernando Alonso was spotted in the Alpine garage a couple of times and immediately the rumors started spreading. The assumption was Fernando was going to finish or end his career in Alpine to have one good season with them. These rumors fizzle out within a week and then they come back up. The summer break was full of these kind of rumors. Aston has reportedly been trying their best to close the deal with Alonso, and that is their highest priority. But there are rumors that based on the improvements from Honda, Alonso may or may not change his mind and see if he can move to Alpine. Some rumors also mention that he's also looking for a salary hike just like Sainz and is planning a 1+1 contract with Aston, which means we might see him in the paddock for definitely 2 more years. In parallel, Franco Colapinto also almost has his contract sealed for the next couple of years, but in typical Flavio Briatore fashion, they are all waiting to see if there are any developments in the driver market before putting ink on the paper. But as it stands, Colapinto will extend his contract with Alpine. So quite a lot of driver market updates depend on how the second half of the season goes. So no wonder there has not been any breaking announcements during the summer break. Another driver that I don't want to talk at all about, but we have to at least mention him in these kind of videos, it is Max Verstappen. He's always been linked to either Mercedes or McLaren. Mercedes because he was spotted hanging out with Toto Wolff, and then McLaren because GP is moving to McLaren. These rumors keep coming and going, and they will continue for the foreseeable future unless Max himself opens his mouth and official sources add any sort of merit to these kind of rumors. I will not take anything seriously. As of now, we just have to assume that Max is going to end 2026 with Red Bull and he's going to do 2027 also with Red Bull. So before we close this segment about driver transfers and rumors, let's remember one more time where each driver sits in the contract table. We are expecting 12 news updates of either a contract being renewed or an update whether the driver is leaving the team for another team or if they are leaving the sport altogether. Now let's talk about some updates and upgrades that are expected in Zandvoort and in the second half of the season. We are starting today with Red Bull. The biggest problem for Red Bull has been the aerodynamic reliability and chassis this year. Max Verstappen just a few weeks back in a press conference mentioned that they don't have tire degradation, they have car degradation. And when he finished second place in Hungary, he was genuinely surprised and said, I don't know how I ended up here. And he was absolutely right. He used his stance to do an overtake on Lewis, which was really nice, and then the later virtual safety car and Hannah Schmidt's strategy cooking helped him get on the podium. On several occasions, Max Verstappen has called his car trash, crap and other unpleasant words, with one of the more eloquent and informative ones being aerodynamically broken. And we aren't even talking about the flipping wing that almost killed him twice. The car also has been a nightmare for the engineers because the issues that Max is highlighting are non-existent in the simulators and in the data. And Red Bull has been bleeding talent left, right and center. All the members who were part of that championship winning seasons have now left to join other teams or have retired. And the team's culture also seems different compared to what it would have been. A couple of notable points that I want to highlight. The first one is how they have handled the ADUO results. The entire Formula One community seems to think that if Christian Horner was in the paddock, the politics would have played out very differently. We at the moment have a power unit that has won 9 of the 11 races be eligible for an ADUO update, whereas an engine that is yet to win is considered the benchmark. Christian Horner was a powerhouse when it comes to playing paddock politics. Love him or hate him, he was a big part of Red Bull's culture and personality. From Sebastian Vettel's days to Danny Rick and to Max Verstappen, he had found and developed drivers who were a class of their own in terms of not just performance but also mindset and mentality. The second big culture shock that I saw from some of the recent reports that highlighted that the team is going to be minimal in their focus towards upgrades for 2026 and are going to focus on 2027. Now, this is very uncharacteristic of Red Bull. Last year was a good example of how Red Bull will sacrifice anything and everything to win at the present. They sacrificed 2026 to make sure that Max had a fair chance at the title fight in 2025. And they did close a deficit of 100 points. I don't like it when Red Bull say that they are going to focus on the next year. That's loser talk, okay? The teams that kept saying we will focus on the next year are the likes of Aston Martin and Williams. Ferrari, for the last 20 years, have been saying next year is our year. And this year, when they are actually winning, you never hear them saying next year is our year. They are still thinking about this year. They are still bringing in upgrades so that Lewis Hamilton has an actual chance at winning his 8th championship. I am worried for Red Bull. Red Bull have one of the longest winless streaks since 2015. In the last 10 years, they've never gone 10 races without winning. They are the 4th best on the grid currently and they are borderline midfield. So yeah, if you're a Max Verstappen fan or a Red Bull fan, chances are you're going to have a lot of depression in the second half of the season. There will definitely be sparks of Max Verstappen's brilliance that comes out of his driving, but I do not expect them to suddenly start winning in the second half of the season. The other team that I want to talk about is Ferrari. The glow up of this team has to be studied. The latest update from sources is that they have a major floor update coming in Zandvoort, followed by a low drag package and the ADUO turbo upgrade in Monza. While all of this is going on, they are still further cooking up another additional development package with some major upgrades that will come closer to the end of the season. Ferrari are definitely the number one threat at the moment to the championship leaders as of now, who are Mercedes. Another huge threat that is developing in the shadows is McLaren. McLaren are definitely bringing some minor upgrade this weekend. Their biggest upgrade package is planned around Baku. Now, this is a team that didn't join the championship conversation early on only because of their reliability issues. There are plenty of races where they never started. Let us not forget this is a reigning world champion team and Oscar and Lando are amazing drivers. Let us not forget McLaren were in the midfield in the 2021-2022 season and went on to just develop a monster of a car towards the end and became world champions. McLaren's aerodynamics team know how to fix a broken car. So with them having one of the best engines on the grid and with their reliability issues sorted and them working on the aerodynamics, Mercedes should genuinely be worried. And yes, Mercedes are also bringing some upgrades. A minor update is expected in Zandvoort and the team plans to bring smaller upgrades till a bigger upgrade comes in Singapore. Another team that is going to make a huge news in this upgrades discussion is going to be Aston Martin. They are bringing a new Honda engine and it is combined with an aerodynamic upgrade package. Sources say the expected result is going to be at least 0.5 to 0.8 second improvement in lap time. Chances are we are going to regularly see Fernando Alonso in Q2 and if we are lucky, even in Q3. So the bottom line is every team has been cooking in the summer break. Some of them have upgrades coming this week and some later. We will be discussing all the upgrades planned by each team specifically in the weekend preview video. But for now, this is it. Trust me when I say this, there is a hectic season on the way. But the good news is there is going to be a lot of things to talk about and a lot of videos from me. So happy race week and I will see you in the next video. Peace.